Welcome back to Wavy Music News Podcast. Today's guest is someone whose musical life is a world of discipline, movement, curiosity, and reinvention. We're sitting down with Briana Lewis, flutist, vocalist, songwriter, performer, and the Wavy Awards 2023 Best New Artist. Briana grew up in the Air Force as an Air Force brat who found grounding and focus through music, from flute studies as a child to jazz choirs, woodwind trios, musical theater productions, and opera ensembles. She has lived inside nearly every corner of the musical world. She holds a BA in flute performance, earned her master's at Berklee College of Music in contemporary performance and studio production, and has collaborated with legendary artists Patrice Rushen, Nona Hendricks, John Oates, and Danilo Perez.
Yeah, I did workshops with them. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
She performed everywhere from Valencia to New York City, recorded on over 20 projects, taught young musicians, starred in both opera and musical theater, and even cut live vinyl sessions. After winning Best New Artist at the Wavys in 2023, earning a nomination for Best Song Production in 2024, she is now entering one of the biggest chapters of her career. Her full-length album, Turquoise, which she is currently crowdfunding as a Wavy Ambassador, a part of our first cohort. So everyone give a round of applause. We're talking about the album. We're going to talk about the story behind it, the move to Atlanta, the evolution of an artist who has done the work at every level.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Em. Oh my God, that was beautiful. It's like,
You're beautiful, and we're so happy to have you here, and it's been so great to have you. I've known you for a few years, but I feel like we haven't gotten blackout drunk together yet at the Wavy Award show. No, I'm just kidding. No, sobriety is great.
yeah.
But I feel like, we got a kiki. We didn't have our kiki at like the after parties.
I know. I feel like because it's so everybody's,
It's so chaotic.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Wish there was more time, but no, I was like, I love, seeing you host and, carry the Wavy Awards and everything with the shows. And it's just like, they're doing so awesome. They're so awesome.
I remember that open mic performance at the basement in
Mm.
Radical Wine, and I remember feeling, and you always do this, and I may have told you, and this might be a repetition or repeat, but you just bring so much light and love in your performances and your music, and it really is so uplifting to witness you and your art and your expression. And it's something that I think like we just need. There's so much noise, and even if like I don't even know, we're just gonna go in like music today, like even if it's so whatever it could be, it marks all these boxes. You
Mm.
like don't necessarily have a voice, but you have a voice. You mark the boxes and you have a voice that um, I think is why music is there for us. It's to help us, alleviate that whatever the struggle of being human. I just feel like you are such a channel and a conduit for this type of work. So I mean, I really mean it. Like, thank you for being here and thank you for being a part of the community
Mhm.
and sharing your voice and your stories and your emotions through music. Has touched me, and I know it has for our community too.
Wow. Thank you so much. That really means a lot to me. That really does. Yeah, I really just can't think of like a better community than the Wavies and how it's, I guess it's easier for me to like, connect with people just because they've created such a safe space for artists and, the people that are part, helping the community run like you. It's just really, you guys are just doing such an amazing job. And it's really just So I'm trying to find a nice, succinct way to say this instead of rambling, which it's happening. I'm rambling now, but it's like it's just it. You guys created such a great environment. It feels you you have no qualms about sharing, bearing your soul in a way that helps to connect with others.
Well, look at us. Here we are,
Yeah.
sharing our souls,
Yeah.
and I'm wondering how that connects to the music you're making now and the music you're making in the future.
Mm.
How is sharing your soul? What does it look like? And you lived so many musical lives, from classical, jazz, Latin ensembles, musical theater, opera, and studio sessions. How does that all of those threads, how do they come together for you as an artist, and how might that show up in what you're making for your latest work, Turquoise?
I think with that, it's really giving me that discipline, that focus, which is which is nice. I don't want to make it so like all if you want to do any sort of artistic thing, it's just discipline. But it's as someone with was diagnosed ADHD when I was 7, so I it's nice to have that like clear path. But at the same time, you have that foundation, you have like the template to go off, and then you can just do whatever you want. You're like, I know how the rules are supposed to be. Okay, cool. I'm gonna try and do this, and take risks and everything. And I think that has helped me with this album in particular, just because I'm taking all the little bits of lessons I've learned from each musical life I've lived, and then kind of getting out of my own way, and just realizing how much this album is kind of I say it's like giving your younger self a big bear hug, you
Hmm.
know and for that, you really, you can't be, the disciplined, super intense musician. You have to be like vulnerable and soft and um, open. And I think that, yeah, even though I have that as a part of the foundation, it's not, it I've learned to not be so rigid with that.
That's interesting. I just, I mean, like, I totally agree and resonate. And I don't have a classical background uh, I mean, this is something that I need to reframe. We just came from a workshop for the ambassador program, and I think it was open to Wavy's community members as well. But definitely, like, or maybe I'm incorrect about that. It was geared towards the ambassadors, but talked about reframing. And that's one of my things that I need to reframe is like, I feel like I don't have the foundation, and I learned music later in life. But what you're saying makes so much sense. Yeah, and it's inspiring because it feels like, coming from um, that world, you are able to take those risks and know uh, sort of how far you are from home.
Hmm.
Um, can I ask you a question about Turquoise? So, where did that name come from? And where did the emotion or moment that sparked it? Um, and what's sort of like, I mean, I hate this question, but the genre,
Yeah.
what would you say?
No, it's oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, what would you say? Yeah.
Let's see. So that the name came from the song that I was working on. I wanted to write a song about the complications of growing up as an Air Force brat, um, kind of unlearning some of the lessons that were taught to me during that time, especially me being very growing up, learning from my mom, just being very, I guess, as leftist as possible. And how, especially in the 90s, 2000s, we call it like the culture on base. That wasn't always received that well. So it was just like there are a lot of things that the Air Force provided me and my family, and then there were a lot of things that I just was just like, okay, I'm leaving that there because that's not something I want to carry with me. Some of the views on politics or whatnot, and then imperialism and such like that. But at the same time, um, especially in the 90s when I was like really little, just how it was like, I mean, a lot of people view their childhood in that way. It's like, it was so much fun. But if, I take a little step back, it's like, yeah, it was fun. It was kind of complex though. And then that was the song I'd been working on, I just for years. Um, well, I say for years, I would like write and then put it down for like months at a time and then try and pick it up again. And then I just, turquoise was like my favorite color, especially at the time it still is now. And then I would reconnect with people from the bases that I grew up with. And then they were, it was just interesting how everybody just, was progressing in their life. And so that turquoise was like a snapshot of my life at that time, being young, being kind of carefree, knowing there was like other stuff going on, but being a child, so not really paying attention to it until you get older.
Mm.
And then I decided I was trying to figure out a name for the album for the longest time. And then I was just like, I think I just like, I got frustrated one day. I was like, just name it after this song, Turquoise, and call it a day. And then it just ended up fitting because, I'm looking at my childhood in a different way. I'm looking how it's affecting me, current times, and how I've grown and what some things that I still need to work on and stuff like that.
I love it as a lens for a larger body of work, and I can totally see how it will inform the rest of the album. How far along are you? Do you have the songs ready, or do you need to go write more of them? How is Atlanta influencing maybe the sound or production? You recently moved to Atlanta a
Yeah.
few months ago. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So exciting news. I finished writing and composing this past Friday.
Oh my
Yes,
God. Wow. What the heck? Wait, that's such a big deal. What?
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just like, I like was like, okay, no, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna get the chord progressions. We're gonna get the feelings so that I have my reference tracks ready. So yeah, I think being I was trying to work on it in New York as well, but I had this really intense retail 9 to 5 job, and it was quite soul sucking at the time. I'm not gonna lie. And then in Atlanta, I have a little bit more room to breathe, but still trying to stay focused and everything. And I just finally was like, okay, we need to, I really want to have these songs done. I want to, even if it's, I don't, I'm not recording it right at the second, I can at least have the acoustic version ready to go when I do perform or whichever. So yeah, I think Atlanta helped me as far as just having just a little bit more breathing room. Like I always appreciate New York City, and I was in Brooklyn the whole time I was there. Oh goodness, I moved in 2017. So I was there for a little over 8 years in
Wow.
Brooklyn. Yeah. Um, and a lot of times it was very chaotic. But I think um, just because of, I know people say this all the time, but like the energy of the city, and so many people are moving there for their dreams. I kind of was just, I tried to carry that with me when I moved to Atlanta, being like, all right, it's a different vibe. It's still great, but I'm still trying to accomplish these things. And and then at the same time, a lot of people are moving to Atlanta from other places in the South, or across the pond, to try and accomplish their dreams. It's just just in a different city. So I think the focus, I don't know if it's like, it was just like this drive. I was just like, I just like wanted to get this done because I was tired of it hanging over my head. And then two, I was just, I don't know, like it was I was just excited to just write music. Which sounds like, kind of obvious, but when you're doing like classical or jazz, flute, or any sort of classical thing in school for undergrad or grad, you're sometimes, not every time, but it can kind of take the joy out of it because you feel like everything's for a grade instead of just for how you're expressing yourself. So I think this was a music project really, where I was just like, this is one of the few times that I can just make something for me that expresses exactly where I am or how I want to view things. So let me just take advantage of it.
I love that, and I love that you were excited about writing music, and I also feel that I do understand because I feel like as artists, we sometimes can get caught up. Like I was obsessed with chasing, like trying to write a hit for a while, and just trying to like get a viral video. I mean, all these superficial things, but to help the music, to help me to get my message out there. And it's like I lost the thread, and it's like, wait, I haven't written in months.
Mm.
Like I haven't, and it's I don't know if you're that type of writer. Sometimes, like I'll just have to write. Music came to me as a way to, I couldn't vocalize what I was feeling inside, and music was that path that allowed me to do that. And so is it makes me so happy to hear that you were excited, and that I'm so proud of you for finishing composing and writing, because that's absolutely, it takes us years sometimes to like get to that point. So that is like a giant applause from
Thank
us
you.
to you.
Appreciate it.
And we're sort of coming to an end here. Are there things that you want? So, by the way, if you're listening right now, I need you to get your checkbooks out, or your credit cards, your Tap, your Venmo, your Cash App. Actually, it's a PayPal link that we have for donations, so that we can support this beautiful artist and their incredible album that they're working on. We want to see it. We want to listen to it. So you can just visit the link in show notes. But what is something you want to talk to the audience about, or your listeners? Somebody who's listening right now, who's considering supporting your crowdfunding campaign. What's something you want to say? And maybe you can also talk about one feeling you want to leave your listener once they listen to Turquoise.
Mm. A feeling, I think definitely I would like them to find respite in my music, to be comforted, to feel uplifted. I would love for them to walk away with that feeling. And as for the Wavy Ambassador kind of crowdfunding campaign, I just think any chance you get to support a smaller independent artist is like such a good use of your time, because you know that that money's going to good use. It's going to like, oh, just, helping to fund the producer fees, or it's going to um, help them, rent out a studio. It's like it's going to something that it's you see it directly having a positive impact on the artist. And it's just, I'm seeing more and more people kind of going out of their way to support small artists, and I think that's is such a nice thing. So, especially when they're going out to see in person the different live shows, and I think
Yes.
that also could be carried out with supporting the crowdfunding campaigns as well.
And if you get the opportunity to see Briana live, you must go. And I know without a doubt your album will offer that respite, that relief, because I've witnessed it. I'm a witness to your talent, and it is healing. It is magic. It is enlightening. It does light you up. So
Thank you.
thank you for being with us here today. A musician with range, history, skill, and a whole new chapter ahead of her. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your discipline and your heart behind Turquoise. Everyone, please go listen, support the crowdfunding campaign, and be a part of this amazing manifestation, bringing the album to life. This is one of those moments where community truly matters. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Wavy Music News Podcast.
Thank you so much.